How's it going, guys? The Comics Kid 2099 here. I've got a graphic novel that I finished reading last week. By the time this goes up, it will have been last week. And I wanted to talk to you guys about it, specifically you guys. The graphic novel is Skaar, King of the Savage Land. This collects a 5-issue miniseries called Skaar, King of the Savage Land. And if you're unfamiliar with the character, basically, once upon a time, the Incredible Hulk was stranded on an alien planet that's kind of sort of like a sword and sorcery planet, kind of a Conan the Barbarian type thing. And then, long story short, the Hulk had a kid. I don't even know all the specifics about it because I haven't read any of the stuff preceding this concerning Skaar. I did read Follow the Hulks, which Skaar was in. I don't remember if that was before or after this. I think it was before, but still, I have no idea what Skaar's origin is, or how he came to Earth, or anything like that. I've read very little Skaar. I read the Follow the Hulk story, and I really hated that story, and so that kind of put me off of the character for a while. And then I saw this, and I was very interested in this idea, because where better to put a kind of sort of barbarian character than in the Savage Land, which is kind of sort of Marvel's own ripoff of Tarzan. If you go back and look, basically it's very obvious that Ka-Zar is a ripoff of Tarzan, and so the Savage Land is kind of a ripoff of all of the stories and trappings of Tarzan stories that would come with the character of Tarzan. So it makes a lot of sense to take Marvel's own Conan the Barbarian ripoff and put him into Savage Land. That's a very interesting idea. Was this story, did the execution match the premise? I would say no. It's a very interesting premise, I think, and there's not a whole lot to it, just, you know, taking this barbarian character and putting him in a jungle environment with dinosaurs. There's really not a whole lot to it, but this book just doesn't really work. I enjoyed it. It's a fun little story, but it's not a great story. My first complaint, really my biggest complaint, is that Skaar isn't really the protagonist of this book. This is called Skaar, King of the Savage Land, but really it's Ka-Zar who, there he is right there. Ka-Zar is really more of the main character here than Skaar is. For the first 2 issues, Skaar does almost nothing. He punches a dinosaur, that's about it. He chases after this robot thing, and then he unleashes this great evil into the Savage Land. He really doesn't do a whole lot. It's mostly Ka-Zar who is acting like a protagonist, you know, trying to do stuff, trying to stop things from happening. He's being very proactive, whereas Skaar is just kind of punching things. And of course, that's to be expected with a barbarian-type character, but still, when this is supposed to be about Skaar, I kind of wish that the whole book was more about him. The series, this little mini-series ends with Skaar. See, it's called King of the Savage Land, but Ka-Zar is actually the leader of the Savage Land, so you may be wondering what's up with that. Long story short, this is a little bit spoilery, but Skaar kind of winds up in this alternate dimension. They don't really explain what it is. It's very similar to the Negative Zone. In fact, I was wondering if this was the Negative Zone and there's just a portal to the Negative Zone in the Savage Land. But it's very similar to the Negative Zone, and you've got all these people from different time periods who apparently, once they're in this portal, they can't die. I don't really know what's up with that. I don't know if that's an aspect of the Negative Zone, but Skaar leads these people out of the portal, and then Ka-Zar basically tells him, listen, they listen to you. You are a leader to them. So now you are a king of the Savage Land. You are one of the tribe's leaders, so to speak. And it's an interesting idea. It's kind of bogus, though, because there's a totally, you know, it's apples and oranges. When you have a guy who is leading a group into battle, that is an entirely different thing than somebody who is leading a tribe during peacetime. Skaar strikes me as the kind of guy who, when there's a war going on, you definitely want him on your side. You maybe even want him to be leading your side. He may be a really intelligent strategist who can, you know, fight wars very effectively. But during peacetime, does this really look like a guy who you want leading your people? And the thing is, Ka-Zar is acting like, oh, this group of people who are all from different points in time and space, they are all listening to him, so he must be a leader. Well, no. I mean, they listened to him one time. That doesn't mean that he would make an effective leader for the rest of forever or whatever. I don't know what happens with Skaar after this, because I don't think he's still in the Savage Land, or if he is, I'm pretty sure there haven't been any other stories featuring him in the Savage Land. I know that I've heard a couple of Hulk fans talk about how something is going on with this character now, but it doesn't sound like he's in the Savage Land, so I don't know. Personally, I would have liked to have seen an ongoing story of Skaar in the Savage Land. This was like a pilot episode for a series that you never get to see. It sets up this idea of Skaar leading this group of people in the Savage Land. I want to see that story. Why aren't we getting that story? Maybe it's because this miniseries didn't do too well. Maybe it's because the miniseries just isn't that good. I don't know. Other than the fact that Skaar is kind of a supporting character in his own book, the art in this. Sometimes the art is really good, and sometimes it is awful. Like, Liefeldian bad, or worse than Liefeld even. And of course, you guys know that I don't absolutely hate Liefeld's art like other people do, but it's still not great. And there are times in this book where the art is just mind-blowingly awful. Specifically, I'm thinking of a couple of scenes with Ka-Zar where his face just looks really weird, like he's dislocated his jaw and he's going to like swallow an animal whole or something like that. It looks really weird, and the art is just, most of the time, it's serviceable and it's good. Like when Skaar is punching a dragon, or not a dragon, a dinosaur. When Skaar is punching a dinosaur, it looks fine. When you've got a close-up on Ka-Zar's face and his mouth is about this big, it doesn't look fine. It looks really awful and weird. Just, the art is, I'm going to say, I have mixed feelings about the art, and we'll just leave it at that. Overall, this book, I would say if I had to give it a numbering, I would say it's a 6 out of 10. It's not awful. It's definitely not a bad book. It's very serviceable is what it is. It's just not great. There are many different things that, personally, I would have done differently to make this a better story. But then again, I'm not the writer, so who am I to tell the writer this is what you did wrong? I'm just giving my opinion in this video. That's about all I have to say about this book. If you have $15 that you want to burn and you want to read about a barbarian character in the Savage Land, then I would suggest picking this up. Other than that, I would say skip it. Maybe find another Skaar story that you might like. I don't really know if there are other Skaar stories that you might like. I know what I do not like and what I think other people would not like, but then again, other people really love Greg Pak's run on the Hulk, so their tastes are probably wildly different than mine. That's all I have to say here, so I will see you guys tomorrow with another video. Until then, catch you guys later. Have a great day.